All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ms. Luna. Lauren Luna is with us from McMurry University. She is the dual credit director from that institution, and she has been kind enough, she is actually traveling, and she has been kind enough to stop what she was doing and pull over and get this information to us. So thank you, Lauren, for being here. We really appreciate it. And I will go ahead and turn it over to you to share your screen and give us the presentation, and then we'll come back at the end of the presentation to do Q&A. So, Lauren?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. I am Lauren Luna, the director of the Dual Credit Academy here at McMurry University. And tonight I'll go over our program with you all. Like Michelle said, if y'all have any questions, feel free to hold them till the end of our presentation. And, let me know if there are any questions at the end. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. Okay.
It's always fun when we have to change platforms and we're used to Zoom or Teams and we have to go to a different platform.
Okay, can y'all see my presentation?
Yes, now it's coming up. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, so over tonight's agenda, I'll go over McMurry University, who we are as a campus. I'll go over our dual credit program, our courses, and our course information. I will briefly talk about application and admission processes with you, and then, of course, our partner, and then open it up for questions and answers. McMurry University was founded in 1923, and we are located in Abilene, Texas, and that is Central West Texas. We are located off of Interstate 20. We are a smaller private institution, a four-year institution. We have over 3,000 students. That is our freshman students all the way to senior, our online students, and our dual credit students. We have a diverse academic curriculum. We have over 50 majors. We have some graduate programs as well. And our classroom sizes are pretty small. We focus on the one-to-one, classroom. We have about 13 to 15 students in each classroom. And then, of course, we are a designated minority and Hispanic serving institution. Our Dual Credit Academy was launched in spring of
Lauren, I hate to interrupt you, but we're seeing the first slide still, and it's not in slideshow mode.
Oh, okay.
So you might need to switch which window you're sharing.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Again, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I didn't want to not be able to see.
It doesn't give me the slideshow option. Let me see. Let me try one more.
What if you click down at the bottom, the little right by the make it bigger or smaller bar? There's that little box on a pedestal. Does that do it?
I'll probably have to go based off of my slideshow. It's not wanting to show the entire screen for some reason.
Okay, well, we can see the slide that you're on. So as long as you're advancing it in this window, we'll be able to see it.
Okay, perfect. So going back about McMurry Dual Credit Academy, we launched in the spring of 2022. We have over 1,900 students. We have over 100 school districts, and we have an associate's degree that we offer to our school districts if they're interested, and of course if they allow the associate's degree to be offered through their school district. We have I'll speak about this here shortly once we get into the course information, but we have over 20 courses. We've added courses and we will continue to add courses. And of course, we have all of the support staff for your students' high school campuses, as well as, for your students if they have any questions throughout their time. Going into the courses, our courses, we have two different modalities. We have the face-to-face courses offered on the high school campus. That modality has to be approved by our university, and of course, your students' teachers have to be credentialed to do that. We also have our online modality, and that is our main source of dual credit, especially here in Round Rock ISD. Your students at those high school campuses will participate in the online courses. And right now we have 22 courses. They're online, asynchronous by design. So they start for instance, the spring, they started in January. It will end in May. Summer will start in June and end in August. And then in the fall, they'll start in August and end in December. We use Canvas as our LMS system. So if your students are currently taking dual credit, or if, you're familiar with the college LMS systems, Canvas is one that's very popular. It is very similar to Blackboard. And these are our courses here. We have a wide variety of the Gen Ed courses, ranging from biology to economics, English, history, math, music appreciation. We even have Spanish. Our Spanish courses are new ones that we added this academic year. And in the upcoming 2025-2026 year, we will be adding additional courses as well. So this list is always growing. From semester to semester, we are continuously adding courses that best fit our school districts and our high school students. This is just an example of the dual credit sequencing. Please know that your district can have their own sequencing. We provide them an example of, if they have any questions. For instance, the history courses can be the junior level history courses. Our economics course can be the high school level economics course, as well as the government. And then, of course, our sciences and our maths and our Englishes. But please know that your district will have that set in stone, and I believe Round Rock does. Our dual credit courses. So our courses are all transferable. We are accredited by SAC-COC, which is the Southern Accrediting Agency that majority of the southern states are accredited with. So public, private, we are all accredited by the same organization. So our courses are accredited and they're transferable to most 2-year and 4-year institutions. Please note that the receiving institution does have autonomy on what the course is transferred as, but since we offer majority of the Gen Ed, those are typically transferred as the equivalent course on the other institution. We designed our platform for the high school learner in mind. So you might ask, what does that mean? We know that these students are in extracurriculars. They're from school on campus 7 to sometimes 8, 9 p.m. a day. And so these courses, like I said, are asynchronous earlier. That means that they can log in at any time, work on them. They don't have to log in at a certain time throughout the school day. As well as all of our courses are built the exact same. So in the platform, they all have the same concept of low stake and high stake assessments. Not one single course is designed differently. We basically designed all of our courses and had the professor assigned to them. So the professor didn't have to create this course from scratch. That's why we did this, was because these are high school students and we do want them to be consistent and be successful. And so these courses were designed with the high school learner in mind. All of our dual credit courses are offered every fall, spring, and summer. We guarantee all courses. We will never say, no, that class is too full, because there are no course minimums or maximums. So if your one student wants to sign up for speech and no one else from that high school is signing up, we will still have a section for your student. And so they are always offered. And of course, we will take 1 to 100 students in that, however many students need to be enrolled. We will never tell the high school campus no, unless, of course, it is after the registration deadline. The cost and billing for our courses. The cost for a 3 credit hour course is $200, and the cost for a 4-hour credit course is $300. 3-hour credit course is your math, your English, your histories, your economics, your government. Your 4 credit hours are typically your science classes, as well as our Spanish class. Our Spanish class, as well as a lot of the Spanish classes across the state, the first year has a lab component to it. So that is a 4-hour class, but it's your sciences and your Spanish are the 4-hour classes. So those will be $300. That price does include all books, fees, and course resources. So you don't have to, if you sign up for a math class, you don't have to go purchase a $150 math lab code, because all of the resources that your student will need is embedded into the course itself. So they are all included, all books, any open educational resources, those will all be included in the course platform. With the McMurry Dual Credit Academy, if your student successfully completes one dual credit course with us, they will receive a $1,000 stacking scholarship to McMurry their freshman year. And we say stacking because we do also offer other merit scholarships. So they are allowed to stack that $1,000 on top of those other scholarships. And your student who successfully completes a dual credit class will receive automatic admission to McMurry. So when a student, it's their senior year, what we do is we will go in and pull reports of students who have completed a course successfully, and we will send them information on how to accept their admission. So they don't even have to apply to us after they've been in our dual credit program. Our dual credit application and admission process is quite simple. Your student will submit the application through our McMurry website, and that is mcm.edu. We do not have an application fee. We do not have an essay associated with it. So it's quite simple. It should take your student no more than 10 minutes to submit this application. And like I said, it's directly through our McMurry website. So your student does not have to log in to Apply Texas or Common App. Once we receive your student's application, your student's high school counseling staff who has access will endorse the student in their personalized counselor portal. The endorsement is simply a yes or a no. Then the high school counselor will upload a transcript in the counselor portal. Basically, we use the transcript to look at GPA, but we do not have a required GPA for admission. Our admission process, like I said, we do not require a TSI. The TSIA assessment, the Texas Success Initiative assessment, we do not require that. We do not require that because we are a private institution, so we are not governed by the same state laws as our public 2-year and 4-year colleges are. We rely on the high school counselor to recommend the student, so that is the endorsement. We rely on the high school staff to vet those students. It's recommended, like I said, but not required that students have a 3.0 GPA. If a student has below a 3.0 GPA, we will reach back out to the high school counselor and just make sure that they're aware that the student is, applying, and that is where that endorsement from the counselor comes in. So if they say no, we'll reach out to the counselor. Sometimes they do it by mistake, but more than likely we will always admit our students. Once a student's admitted, they will select their courses. They will submit a registration form. So the way it works is we send the high school counselors a registration form prior to students even registering. So this form the counselor will fill out and tell us what courses out of our 22 courses they're going to let their students enroll in. Some schools do all 22. Some schools have only a select few. So your campus might be a little different. So I recommend, if you are interested in having your students enroll in our program, reach out to the high school counselors just to make sure that they do offer the courses that your students are interested in taking. If they don't, I am always open to emailing them and just letting them know, like, hey, this student wants to enroll in this course, is it okay? And of course, we'll go from there. Once we receive that form from your high school counselors, we will upload it to the registration form. And so if by chance your students are in this process and they do not see their high school listed on the registration form, it is because we have not received the counselor registration form from the counselor. So just always feel free to reach out to myself or the high school counselors as well. We partner with teleeducation to be able to provide these courses online at the capacity that we do. So teleeducation is a nonprofit organization out of Oklahoma that help us deliver these courses. The courses are vetted and approved by us. So we vet and approve the professors teaching the courses and, of course, the course curriculum and content. We have reviewed all of that, and so they are approved by us, and so that's just kind of how they help us deliver these. And then, of course, the support staff for your students' campus. Each campus has a designated account manager. So what this account manager does is they will run bi-weekly reports. They will send them to the counseling staff, and we basically monitor your students' progress. So what we do is we will list every student. We will kind of put them at a percentage rank. So if your students are at 0% when they really should be at 25%, we notify them. Big red, it's very noticeable that your counselors will see this, and we will reach out to your students as well and send them an email. Hey, what's going on? Or we also make sure that your counselors are aware so that they're able to have that conversation. We don't want your student to fall through the cracks and it be the last week of classes and we're barely figuring out that they haven't worked. We do not want that. So we always send bi-weekly reports. So every other week we are sending reports to our counseling staff and those that have access to the grade book, because that is another thing that we do. We give the counselors and the teachers that are observing your students access to our gradebook at all times. So your counselors will always have access to our gradebook. They will always be able to check the gradebook and your students' assignments. So we basically do this, that way students, like I said, don't fall through the crack. For example, I was a high school counselor before, and that happened. I didn't realize until the last week of the class that a student was dropped and no one told me. Our partner did not tell us. And so that is one thing that we prioritize, is informing our counselors of your students' grades at all times. And this is my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to email me after this. If there's something that comes up when you and your students are course planning, or if they're course planning with their counselors and your student comes home with some questions, feel free to email me. Feel free to give me a call. This is my office phone number as well, so this will ring straight to my line. I do get pulled away into quite a bit of meetings, so if I happen to not answer, just please leave me a voicemail and I will get back to you. But roughly, this is our dual credit program in a nutshell without going into all of the district details. But like I said, anytime you have questions, feel free to reach out. And then, of course, we can open it up for questions now.
Yes, and so if you're not familiar with how this platform works, this being Google Meet, in the bottom right corner, you'll see a square and a circle and a triangle. If you click there and then go to Q&A, there is a Q&A feature, and you'll be able to type your questions there, and I'll be able to read them to Lauren, and one of us will be able to answer those. While you are navigating to that, I'm also going to drop into the chat the URL for our district site that we have created with McMurry's information. So you have that now in the chat accessible to you. And I'm not seeing any questions pop in. Yes, Lauren.
Yes, I was just going to state that I will also put our McMurry website URL in the chat. That way y'all have that direct link as well.
Awesome. And all of Lauren's contact information is available at the bottom of our district site for that. When was the program established? I believe, Lauren, you said that it was 2022.
Yes, so our dual credit program was established in spring of 2022. To get into more detail, we signed one campus that year, and they gave us 19 students. And so you can imagine we've grown outrageously at a very quick pace in that time, because now we have 1,900 students currently in the spring. We are projected to have around 2,000 to 2,500 in the fall. So it is going to continuously grow.
Awesome. And then the next question is there financial aid available? And I know that you don't have financial aid through McMurry, but campuses do sometimes have some financial aid to help their students. Has any of that changed, Lauren?
No, that's still correct. We, as a dual credit student, cannot grant financial aid to students. But like, Ms. Wayne said, we can, if your campus has that financial aid assistance, you can definitely reach out to your campus.
Okay, and then the next question is asking if the slides will be shared. And I was actually going to ask you if you could send me the slide deck so I could post. So
yes, I will.
Awesome, thank you. When does registration open for the summer? What is the deadline to register?
Great question. So registration for the summer will open in April. The first day of summer classes is June 2nd. So primarily we like for students to register the week prior, like the deadline to be prior to June 2nd. So I believe it's May 30th is the deadline.
Awesome. What is the general workload and testing commitments for the classes?
Great question. So all our courses, I said that they're designed for high school students. They are, but they still have the college rigor. It's just the content is separated into different low stake assessment or assignments and assessments, as well as the high stake assignments and assessments. So the low stakes will be in each module, your student will have a check your knowledge quiz, because since these are online courses, some students frequently go through them rather quickly, or they just don't read them. But these quizzes that are within the modules will have questions about the course content that they just went over. So they'll go through those. There are some lower stake assessment, like discussions, things like that. The higher stake assessment and Those are something we call mastery assignments. So every course will have a mastery assignment. They're kind of spread out throughout the semester. So you might think like, week 4, there's probably going to be one, week 8, and then of course probably week 11. We have a midterm and a final exam. So the midterm and the final exams, those have to be proctored. They can be proctored by someone on the high school campus, or your students can utilize an online proctor. But we have, our courses are designed in modules. So there are modules for each week, of course, and then the final and the midterm and the final exam.
Awesome. Okay, and this is a really specific question. Are you offering these 2 courses, Spanish 3 and Principles of Business, Finance, and Marketing?
We do not offer those courses. What we offer in Spanish is the Elementary Spanish 1 and Elementary Spanish 2. And then we do have one business course, but it is not business and marketing. It is the Ethics and Entrepreneurship course.
Awesome. And then here's a question. If I fail the first semester of a subject and I end up not getting full credit of that subject this year, would I be able to take it for dual credit of the same subject in the next course over the summer?
I am going to resort back to your high school campus for the dual portion. You can always retake a course, but depending if your high school campus will allow it to be for high school credit as well, that is something that you'd have to talk to your high school counselor about, but you can always retake a course for sure.
Well, and I'm thinking that that goes into that teacher recommendation or that counselor recommendation. And I'm not sure if a student has failed a course, if a counselor would recommend them take it as a dual credit course, particularly over the summer. So that would have to be a conversation about why that course was failed, what were the circumstances, etc. The next question is, will we be sharing the presentation link? Yes, we will put that on the McMurry page of the Round Rock ISD website as soon as we get it and are able to post it. This is not the only dual credit program with Round Rock ISD. That was a question. We also have a very vibrant program with Austin Community College. And so you can find that if you go to the A to Z index on the district website and go to dual credit, you will find the ACC information there. Students are also getting presentations at their campuses and get information from their school counselors. Is this available to all high school students or just juniors and seniors? These courses are available to anyone who meets the prerequisites for the course. So if it is, for example, English composition, that is an equivalent course to English 3. So we would want them to have English 1 credit and English 2 credit, and then they could take the English composition. Lauren, do you have any additional feedback on the availability of that to students beyond just juniors and seniors?
No, ma'am. I would just designate back to your district's rules. And Round Rock is very great about having those rules, set and clear.
Thank you. And the next question is asking about culinary courses. And unfortunately, it's really hard to do culinary courses through virtual. So I'm thinking that is a no at this time. The next question is, can you guide with the registration? It's a little bit confusing. So do you want to walk everybody through that registration process one more time? And I'll go ahead and drop the website into the chat again, because that does have the process listed on the website as well.
Yes. So the first step will be your students have to apply. Second and third steps, we rely on the high school counselor to submit a high school endorsement, which is the approval. Third one being a high school transcript. Once we receive all 3 pieces, your student will be admitted. Once your student is admitted, then they can register by submitting a registration form. All of our forms are digital forms, so they are not physical paper copies. Links are specific towards the semester we're in. So for instance, summer and fall of 25, those registration links are not available yet, but typically they'll fill out the registration form online. And we will provide that to your students via email, as well as the counselors will have that information.
Awesome. And another question, is it year-round or summer only? It is year-round. They offer the same courses fall, spring, and summer. This is a good question. I know with ACC, we get letter grades. What is the grading system for the McMurry courses? Is it letter grade or numbered?
Perfect. So on the McMurry transcript, you will receive a letter grade. However, I send a numeric grade report to the high school counselors. So that way they can also, if they use our courses as the high school course, they can put that numeric grade on your high school transcript. But your McMurry transcript will be a letter grade.
Awesome. So this is one I can answer. For Round Rock ISD, will the student need to report to a classroom for the dual credit class? Most often, these are not courses that are scheduled into a student's schedule. So if you have a student who has either an off period, oftentimes we have juniors with one off period, seniors that can have up to two. It might be in space of that, in just their daily working of their time, but not necessarily going into a classroom. If they are a younger student and they don't have an off period, this would just be a ninth course that they would be taking that would be outside of the regular school day. The deadline for registration, I believe, Lauren, I forgot to write it down, but you said for summer it's May
30th.
May 30th. Thank you. And what is the first step? Reaching out to the counselor or filling out the application form?
I would reach out to your high school counselor. You might want to inform them that you're interested in taking a dual credit class through McMurry. And then, of course, you can fill out the application around the same time. We won't get you admitted anyways until your high school counselor approves you. So you still want to have that conversation with your counselor. So depending on the order, really just, I would reach out to your counselor first.
Awesome. And then kind of a follow-up question, is the application the only part of registration?
The application is separate from registration. It gets a little confusing. Application first, student gets admitted, and then your student registers, which is separate.
Thank you. Okay, that was just answered. So somebody missed the beginning. Yes, the presentation will be shared. The courses do have set beginning and end dates, but they are self-paced within the course. And the other question is, do you have 5-week summer courses? And I believe the summer courses are the full summer
Correct.
semester?
They are the full summer semester. We do not offer mini semesters, nor do we offer 2 8-weeks in the fall or spring. They're all the 15-week course lengths, except the summer. Summer's roughly, like, I believe, 10-ish weeks.
Okay. Another question asks, which grade scale does dual credit do the dual credit courses count towards? So that's going to be a district question. And right now, any courses that are taken from outside of the district, so be it ACC dual credit, McMurry dual credit, CLEP exams, or credit by exam, none of those are factored into GPA and rank in class. So that is a separate, so it shows up on the transcript and it counts for graduation credit, but it does not get calculated into GPA or ranking class. ACC dual credit is not going to be covered on this call. This call is specifically with McMurry University, and they're providing information about their program. There are sessions at your high school campus that cover ACC dual credit. There's also a website page on the district website. If you go to the district website and then go to the A to Z index and click on dual credit, it will have the ACC information there, as well as a link to the McMurry University information. Okay, here's another question. What is the ranking of McMurry University?
Can I get a little bit more details by what you mean by ranking?
I'm guessing they're talking about, like, how high is McMurry ranked in academics compared to peer colleges? I'm not sure. We'll see if we get any other clarification on that. Do you offer a computer science major?
We do offer a computer science major for our full-time part-time students, so not necessarily for dual credit. We only offer a bachelor's degree in computer science. Our associate degree that we offer is an Associate of Science in General Studies.
Okay. If a student is considering these for transfer, can the counselor help determine if it will transfer?
Your counselor certainly can, or even the receiving institution that your student will be transferring credits to can definitely help. I can even help. I just can't tell you exactly how they all transfer. I can give you a guideline. There are some resources online that the state uses that has a lot of transfer equivalencies from all of the Texas schools. So that might be a good starting point, but definitely we can help, or your high school counselor can help.
And there is something called the Texas Common Course Numbering System that will do exactly what Lauren was just saying. So I'm going to go ahead and get that URL and pop that into the chat for you. And basically what you can do is you can put in a course from one school and see what it will count for at other schools. So that is in the chat. Let me go back to the Q&A. Can a senior who graduates in May take a course in the summer?
They cannot take a course as dual credit, unfortunately. Once they have a conferred date on their high school transcript, we cannot enroll them in dual credit as a dual credit student.
Okay. And then another just wants clarification. So basically, they get $1,000 scholarship and admission into the university if they finish a single dual credit course with you.
Correct. Yes. If they complete one course successfully, meaning they pass it, they will receive a $1,000 scholarship to McMurry if they enroll after graduation, as well as the automatic admission piece.
Awesome. Okay, we got clarification on the ranking question. So it says ranking in terms compared to other Texas colleges, other colleges across the United States. Is that something that they would need to do some research on your website?
Yes. So we were designated one of the best private institutions in Texas. So that is something, that we're proud of. And if you want further details, you can definitely do that research. But I can definitely tell you that we were ranked as one of the best private institutions.
Awesome. Another question is, do the course credits transfer to ACC and vice versa? That is going to be information that you can get by going to that tccns.org and looking at those comparisons. But I can tell you that we in our district are using that Texas Common Course numbering system. So if McMurry calls it rhetoric, and ACC calls it English composition, but they're using that Texas Common Core numbering system to equate them, then ACC does usually take those courses. So I don't think that there'll be any problem with those courses transferring to ACC or ACC courses transferring to McMurry. Can a student do dual credit in 9th grade at Round Rock High School? It depends on which course you are interested in. If there are prerequisites for the course that you have not yet met, then you would not be able to do a dual credit course in that. But for example, if you are a student who has been in the TAG Math pathway and you have taken Algebra 1 and Geometry in middle school, and you are going to take Algebra 2 as a 9th grader, there is a college algebra course that is offered through McMurry that equates to our Algebra 2. So in that case, you could do that dual credit course. And there are lots of resources and information to help you with looking at all of that on the Advanced Academics page of the district website. There are crosswalks and other tools that are there and accessible for you to access. Another question, if a class is virtual or asynchronous, are there due dates within the course, or could you complete the whole course within a much shorter period of time? For example, if you're traveling the first part of summer, but complete the whole class in a few weeks upon return.
That is a great question. Yes, that is doable. There are due dates in quotation marks. The due dates are non-punitive punitive dates. So your student will not be penalized if they do not submit an assignment by that due date that's showing. Those due dates are primarily just to keep a student on track, so that way they don't get behind, since these are asynchronous. But in that scenario, yes, that is perfectly fine.
Awesome. And yes, the $1,000 scholarship is only applicable to McMurry. It does not transfer to other colleges. Um, can you take them if you've already, can you take these courses if you've already taken them during the school year for the sole reason to get admitted? No. So if you've already gotten credit for your economics, or you've already gotten credit for your English or your history, you cannot take a course that you've already gotten credit for. But there is a wide variety that you can select from. There's a music appreciation course that you could take to fulfill your fine arts criteria. There's a general psychology course. There is a principles of communication, which is a speech course. So all of those would be options if you are trying to go through this pathway to get admission. Where can I find the list of courses offered this summer? That's a good question, Lauren. I know we have the approved courses listed on our website, but is there another place that they would look?
Yes, I will link our dual credit website in the chat as well, and it has our courses as well as our admission process. So, in case you need to refer to that directly, I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you. And then do the teachers have office hours for the students to ask questions since they're asynchronous?
Yes, teachers do have office hours that you can always join. They'll even jump on a Zoom call with your student if they need to. So, yes, your students can always reach out and they will be able to provide some help.
Awesome. And then there's a question about which dual credit U.S. history class should a Round Rock High School future junior take? That's an interesting question because there are lots of opportunities to get U.S. history. So the McMurry courses are $200 per course, but you do not have to meet TSI, and they're asynchronous, and there is no seat limit. The ACC dual credit U.S. history courses. I know a lot of kids like to take those in the summer, but there are seat counts or seat limitations, and sometimes we don't get in those, but those are free, but you do have to meet TSI. You have to register by, I believe, March 4th is the deadline. So just looking dual credit to dual credit, that's kind of the comparison. If you are also interested in looking at the on-ramps dual enrollment with the University of Texas, that's actually a year-long course that you don't have to take TSI, and you are enrolled in that course. Well, actually, it's two courses. It's two single semester courses, so you end up getting 6 credit hours out of that. So there's lots of options for U.S. history. I would recommend talking to your counselor, who is going to know you best as far as what course taking patterns, because you also have AP to choose from, as well as dual credit and on-ramps. And then you can also look at those resources that we have on the Advanced Academics website. There is a comparison chart that compares all the different platforms for each of the questions you might ask. And then also we have an ambassador chat. So we have advanced academics ambassadors that can hop on and answer questions that you might have. And so if you go to the A to Z index and click on advanced academic ambassadors, that chat schedule is there. And I believe our next chat is next Wednesday evening at 6:00. So you could hop on and ask the ambassadors that. The cost of each course, just to reiterate, is $200 per course. The courses that are offered are listed on the Round Rock ISD website, and there is a link to a full crosswalk of approved dual credit courses that includes both the ACC and the McMurry courses and what high school course they equate to. We are going to post this recording as well as the presentation deck. Rigor-wise, ACC versus McMurry, I would say both of these institutions are very rigorous and award-winning, I would think, and I would feel comfortable with my child taking classes at either one. ACC is going to be a public institution. McMurry is a private institution. ACC is a 2-year institution, but they've got some 4-year programming now. McMurry is a 4-year program. So I would say that they are both rigorous college experiences for our students. Your sophomore just passed the TSI. What is the benefit of researching McMurry's dual credit offering compared to ACC? Um, it's going to be, do you like the going to class in person for the ACC summer course? Or if you're going to take the virtual, what are you seeing about the virtual course versus what are you seeing about the McMurry asynchronous experience? I think you really just have to think about um, timelines, and uh, each of those universities are kind of unique in their platforms. So I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to answer that in just one quick answer, but I do think that both options are positive opportunities to gain high school credit and college credit concurrently. Can students complete requirements for junior year U.S. history through McMurry over the summer? Yes, absolutely. And then does McMurry have, and this is our last question posted so far, does McMurry have recorded lectures for the material, or is it all the student reading?
So there are some lecture videos within the courses. It is, of course, student reading, and then of course they also embed other videos as well.
Okay, awesome. So that is it for our questions. If you are still trying to ask a question, remember you go to that bottom right-hand corner and you see the square, triangle, and circle, and you click on that and then click on Q&A and type in your question. If you have any other questions, Lauren and I will both enter our email addresses into the chat. So you will be able to reach back out to us if you need anything. And it looks like I'm going to finish typing my email address, and then I will go back to the Q&A because it looks like we've got a couple more questions that have popped in there. For junior year U.S. history, does that mean 2310 and 2320 need to be taken at the same time? So U.S. history is unique in that for high school, you only need the 1302, the history 1302, which is the common course numbering system, which is the history 2320 at McMurry.
2320, sorry.
That's okay. Most colleges will want you to take both 2310 and 2320, but for dual credit for the high school, 2320 or history 1302 meets the requirement for the high school U.S. history course. Now, the history 1301 or 2310, as it's called at McMurry, that one does count as an elective social studies course. So you will still get credit for that course on your transcript. It will count towards graduation credits in social studies, but it does not count as, you don't have to take both of those to get your high school U.S. history credit. The recording will be on the website. If you go to the A to Z index on the Round Rock ISD website and go to McMurry, the recording will be posted there hopefully by the end of the week. And here's another really great question, Lauren. How does McMurry handle accommodations? So for students who have an IEP, who have some kind of accommodations, what is the process?
Absolutely. So we rely on the high school counselor to submit an accommodation request, and they have access to those. So if your student does have accommodations, of course, please have your counselor submit those, and that way we can get that planned out according to your student's needs.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Well, that is all the questions. We've dropped a lot of links in the chat. You might want to go in there and capture those links so that you have them for a future date. Lauren and I will stay on here for a couple more minutes in case any other questions pop up. But if not, thank you so much for joining us and for exploring the McMurry dual credit opportunity. And please do reach out if you think of additional questions at a later date. Thank you and have a great evening.